BTK was the longest reigning serial killer of history. Okay? This man managed to kill across 17 years and evade the police for 31 years. He could have possibly been the longest of all time, right? He could have been the most secretive killer of all time, and nobody would ever know it. But he got cocky and made one big mistake, and this mistake got him caught. So, Dennis Rader, also known better as BTK, the bind, torture, killer, murdered 10 people across the span of 17 years. All right. The first victims he killed were the Otero family, which was the mom, dad, and then brother and sister. Right, but there was 2 survivors who weren't home at that time. But one of those was a 4-year-old girl, and he hung her on the plumbing in the basement, and then pleasured himself to her clothing. Absolute monster. It was horrible, right? But at that time they had no DNA tests, and DNA wouldn't become a thing until the early 2000s, so they couldn't really use that to catch him, right? And they also killed a couple more people. I believe there's 2 more that same year. And then he went silent for a couple years because his daughter was born, then went silent again because his son was born. And there's during these periods where they're like, oh, well, maybe he stopped, he got arrested, whatever. Right, because usually when a serial killer stops, they have been arrested, they have been, dead, they got killed, whatever, they died. Because serial killers continue to kill until they're stopped for a reason. But end up just being, he had children. And then he took a break, and then his final victim was in, 1991, right? And then he stopped killing completely until 2004. And then that was the 30th anniversary of him murdering the Otero family. So then it came out in the media, oh, BTK, 30th anniversary of Otero family murdered. BTK is no longer a threat. Nobody's investigating him, right? The task force that was created years ago had stopped. It basically became a cold case. The captain in charge, or the police chief in charge department had retired, right? So it basically just became a cold case. And now it was being kind of like hyped up again. And they're saying, but he's no longer a threat to us. He's not killing anybody. Nobody's been reported dead in 13 years now, right? So then BTK, he's watching this on TV, he's reading this in newspapers, he's pissed off. He's like, no, how they making less of me? Because BTK was an attention-seeking killer. He had taunted the police with phone calls, with letters, saying, hey, I did this, giving specific evidence that only the killer or somebody with the killer would have known. Right, so they know that the BTK was linked to all these guys. Sorry, I was reading the Zodiac book, so that's why I'm talking about Zodiac, or popping my head. So then Dennis Rader, BTK, writes to police, and the radio's TV station, right, he's like, hey, I'm still alive, I'm still here, I'm still killing, right, I'm still very much a threat. And so then the task force starts back up, and they go full force, right? Getting thousands of tips, investigating every single lead, investigating old witnesses, looking at old police records. And so then Dennis and the police began this letter exchange relationship, right? They're writing letters back and forth. Dennis is taunting them. He's actually believing that he's making friends with them. They're building rapport. Meanwhile, the police are just trying to catch him. They're not trying to be his buddy, but he doesn't realize this. So then Dennis asks them, hey, if I send you a floppy disk, can you guys catch me? Well, they're like, no, you go ahead, you're safe. So he sends them a disc, and then they end up tracing it back to Christ Lutheran Church, where he was president of the council there. Trace it back to him. They start linking it up. They get some evidence of him linking DNA through his daughter, right? She got sick. They had some evidence from the university. And the proving it was him. They catch him on his way home to eat lunch because he went the same route every single day. And then they're finally interviewing him, and he's pissed off, right? He's like, I thought we were becoming friends. I thought we were talking. And the detective's like, no, I was trying to catch you. I'm not trying to become your friend. And so he basically just confesses to all the murders. And he talks about so routinely. The detectives who interviewed him were so angry at him because he was just talking about like you were talking to your buddy at the gym or ordering your dinner, right? He was like, yeah, I did this, and then the person started talking, the person struggled in this way, the person did this. He had no remorse, he had no guilt, he had no empathy. He was just a cold-hearted monster. And he managed to evade the police for 31 years. And he would have gotten away with it if he had just not been cocky, because it was a cold case. The police are basically like, we're still investigating it, we're still looking at leads, but they basically ain't given up. And because of that one cocky mistake that he just had to relish in, he got caught. And that was the end of BTK, who is now serving 10 consecutive life sentences at El Dorado Correctional Facility in Kansas. So yeah, screw you, BTK. That is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video on BTK. Make sure you are sticking around and you're subscribed, because I got a lot more videos coming on BTK, who evaded police for 31 years. I got videos coming on Zodiac and how he has still not been caught or been proven guilty to this day, even though the main suspect died of heart attack decades ago. Talk about Ted Bundy, right? And how he eluded police for many years, had many lovers, nobody suspected him. So make sure you're subscribed, you're watching this channel, share it with a true crime fiend, and remember, stay true to yourself, stay true to crime, and God bless you guys. I'll see you next one.